Are you willing to share that story of what drew you to teaching trauma-informed yoga?
Absolutely. And to your point, before I get into the story, language, like our language, our words have power. So a big aspect of trauma informed yoga also is adapting the words that we speak, the language that we speak. I hear in a lot of yoga classes, oh, just close your eyes. That can be really triggering for people. So giving options like close your eyes or find a soft gaze in front of you, or close your eyes or keep them open, right? Also, another aspect of that is like breath is a big part of yoga. Sometimes breath is really triggering for people. I had someone tell me, a friend of mine tell me that focusing on their breath was made their anxiety worse. And it was like, whoa, that was hard for me to understand because I've been teaching movement and yoga and breath for so long. But hearing that changed the game for me. It was like, oh, wow, breath can be triggering, absolutely. So now I always mention in my classes, if it feels okay to focus on the breath, join me in this exercise or something like that, right? So I'm giving people an opt out. If you don't want to focus on your breath right now, you might notice the ground underneath you, right? So, like, you see how these shifts in language can help people feel at ease, can offer people that choice back to them of like, actually, no, I don't want to focus on my breath
Right.
today. Thanks for giving me the option to not. So there's so many ways that our language can empower people or potentially, hate to use the word harm, but potentially harm people, right? And this leads into my story of I have a couple different stories of being triggered in yoga classes, unfortunately. But I had experienced trauma in my late teens, early 20s. I was in a domestically abusive relationship. And I talked about that in the last episode in EMDR. So listen to that one if you haven't. You can hear my story, a little bit of it. And I was in a yoga class. This was probably 8 years ago, maybe. And we were in triangle pose, and the teacher was trying to get us to bring our chin back in line with the rest of our spine. And they used this cue of imagine somebody was pulling your ponytail back. And that cue sent me into a flashback of having my hair pulled. I mean, should have given a trigger warning. I'll add that to the beginning of this episode. However, yeah, I had a flashback of a traumatic event. It dropped me down to my knees and I spent the rest of the class in child's pose crying. It helped me see how much our words matter. And it also helped me see how what happened to us seemingly years ago can still live in our body, right? And we can be triggered seemingly by simple things. So my personal experience really influenced the way that I held space moving forward and helped me, realize that I wanted to step on the path of learning more about understanding my own physiology from trauma and also how I can be a space holder who understands, how my language might impact another.